Morning, everybody. Welcome to Coffee and Craps. This is John from YouTube channel Pro Craps here on Casino Gaming TV. I see the chat's going here. Yes, I'm drinking my Kona coffee as well from Hawaii. This stuff is, God, it's so good. Anyway, good morning. Good morning. Lots to talk about today. Let's get right into it here, actually. I'm going to go to the announcements tab here and walk you through a couple things, and I got a little bit of a screen share to do with you as well. I want to clarify a point here. So, again, your morning reminder about DiceCon, right? Get registered for DiceCon, get up on Jeremy's channel and get rolling. I'll see y'all in Vegas on June 19th to 21st. Brian, Hawaii Crap Shooters, good morning, bud. How you doing? I'm just going to put up a random comment of yours here, but nice job in the live stream last night. Your wife is the sniper, it sounds like. Good deal. It's fun doing these things live, isn't it? And I agree, High Roller. We need more live craps. Right? I've made this kind of commitment where, from my standpoint anyway, I can't speak for everybody else, but I'm going to do pretty much everything I do live. There are videos where I'm going to be doing for the Pro Craps channel that I've got to produce them. Like I've got to, like when I do a real strategy explanation video, I really want to go down into the weeds, do some PowerPoints and do some kind of writing numbers down type of thing. In those cases, I'll have to record them and get them ready, but pretty much I think going live is the way to go. I think you get a much more genuine voice, I guess, from us. Like you're getting the emotion as we're rolling shit out and like what's going on, and it's like it's raw. And of course you can't fake the dice, right? And that's a big thing. Everybody seems to love this. You guys all seem to love the lives. The problem with live, obviously, is that we can get a little wordy sometimes. So a live episode could be an hour or more, where a recorded video can be 15, 20 minutes. So there's a pro and a con there for sure for those things. But anyway, I agree. Love all the live shows that are coming on now. And, you know, I'll take some credit for this. There wasn't a lot of live stuff going on. Big AZ was doing live one-on-one games and kind of thing, but there wasn't a lot of live people doing this stuff. Now it's like everybody's doing it. So I'm glad that we've kind of kicked this thing off and folks are like going live all the time. It's great. The problem that we have with it still is that I never know what to do because during my day or during my night, all of a sudden somebody pops on live. I'm like, oh crap, I got to go watch this. So it's hard to get a handle on it, but I love the fact that we're getting live craps every day. It's really, really awesome. All right, let's see. Yeah, High Roller got to go live for sure. Waylon's Way, by the way, look at this little note. You're almost at 800 subs. That's amazing, dude. You're crushing YouTube right now. It's awesome. And I guess it's good, right? I think, and I'm going to use me and you and Mike as an example right now, because Jeff's in a different level at this point in terms of what he's trying to do. But Mike, you're hitting that perfect mark. We talked about the butter zone for your channel, which was like, you know, get me in at my regular budget, like a normal person would play safely and get him through the strategies. And I think that's really good the way you're breaking that stuff down. And Waylon is working new stuff. Like Waylon to me is just working new strategies all the time. And that's a missing piece to the YouTube verse right now. There's nobody putting out new strategies. We're all playing the same sort of things. Jacob, myself, I more teach. Jacob more works the table. Waylon's got new strategies. Mike is showing new beginners how to play. And Jeff is like doing this more interactive thing now. I think we got this really cool mix of stuff. And of course, Brian is the thinker of the group with really well thought out strategies. I think we're making some pretty cool waves right now in the craps world. I love what's going on with online craps right now. I think it's pretty amazing. I'm hoping that this Casino Gaming TV channel takes that same meteoric approach, but across all games. We're going to try, I'm going to try and work in Baccarat and Blackjack, Pai Gow and Roulette to this channel as well and have lives for those games and folks that are kind of experts in those games as well on this side. So hoping to see some of the same things. But yeah, congratulations to Mike and Waylon. And Jeff, I think, hit 1,200 subscribers yesterday. It's fantastic what's going on right now. I just really, really love it. And here's High Roller Craps, which is Vince, I'm assuming, right? Vince, you'll do a live show. Dude, we should do some live stuff. I think you and I should do some live stuff anyway. And I'm thinking about, and give me a thumbs up here in the comments, or note rather in the chat. That's what I meant to say. Would you all like to have this morning show include some guests on it? So I've been thinking about this for a while because I can basically what you're getting from me right now is the book I'm going to write. At some point, I'm going to write a book, and it's like every day is a chapter. That's how I look at this thing. But I think the show could be cool with a guest. Either it's a person shooting with me, or we can work strategy together, or whatever else. But maybe like I don't know. I'm thinking about like a segment here where we have somebody else on. It'd be kind of fun. So anyway, just food for thought as things to do here on this channel. I think we have a lot of, or not this show in particular. This show definitely has a lot of legs to it if we do different things. So yeah, everybody's doing great, Brian, for sure. All right, let's talk about today. One thing I want to mention here real quick, by the way, this 28% PSO number. So I've been talking to one of my subscribers and one of our friends over email. And what happens is when I make bold statements like this, 28% of the shooters PSO. I say this all the time because it's a real number. And people say that's not math. There's no math that supports that. And I'm like, I know there's no math that supports it, but I'm telling you what I see. And let's talk about what I mean by a PSO in this context. I have said, I guess we can say like this. The PSO means point, then a 7, and you're out, right? So you set a point, 7 out immediately. That's PSO. I'm looking at this when I do my study that I've showed you before. I've done it with a slightly different twist on it. And I think, and here's the reason. Let me actually share my screen out, and we'll talk about that. I think you can see this. Here's my numbers, right? This is after a million shooters, okay? And this is a million shooters that I ran, okay? Here's the numbers, right? It's 28.5% of the shooters, 0.7 out. And that's an important distinction. It's not the number of rolls or not the number of hands that where you set a point and then 7 out, because a shooter might set 5 points and make them. And on the 6th point, he sets the 5 and then 7's out. That's not a PSO, the way that this study works. And I want to make that very, very clear. That's not a PSO. This study that I did with the million shooters was designed to see how many rolls the average human rolls before they 7 out, okay? So the average person getting the dice rolls no rolls, like they get a 7 out immediately after their point being set 28% of the time. That's what I'm looking at here. It's not the number of absolute hands that get tossed, number of points that get set. The reason why this is an important distinction to make is I'm counting shooter roll length, not hand roll length here in this study. That's because I want to protect you as place bettors, because as place bettors, y'all want to press, right? I'm in this game too. I want to press, make some money at this thing. There are channels out there that are telling you that the only way you can make me zoom in some more, the only way you can make any money at this game is to power press or to triple X or go to the moon with this thing. That's not true. And I want to help you protect your bankrolls. And by looking at these, I wanted to see how often does, the one here, how often does a number roll one time in an average shooter? So Brian from Why I Crap Shooters goes to the table, not throwing controlled. He just grabs the dice and throws them. How often does he ever hit a 4? Ever. From when he gets the dice to when he finally 7s out, one time, maybe a quarter of the time he gets a 1-4, right? This is the study here. This is, again, million shooters running these numbers. And that's what I'm seeing here. So that's the genesis of this study was that. It was not so much every time somebody grabs it, or every time the puck is off, we reset the count. I don't. I reset these counts with a new shooter coming in. So how long does the average shooter last? How many rolls does the average shooter make on each number? And that was the point of this study. And I want to make sure that was abundantly clear, because I think it's not. I think when I give that number, what happens is I get 10 emails from people saying, you're bullshit, you're wrong. I'm not wrong. I'm tracking something different than you think I'm tracking. So 28% of people PSO when they get the dice. It's not 28% of the points end in an immediate 7. That's why I say be careful, okay? And the reason for this is think about it. When you put your money out there, right? I get the dice. Brian goes 160 across. That's when he's at risk. He's at risk to me right at that moment. If I throw 3 or 4 rolls and get some inside numbers, ostensibly he's not at risk. He's pulled money back or he's not as pressing. If I make the point and then I make another point and 7 out immediately, he loses money, it's on him, right? But I'm tracking how often do you put your paycheck out there and have your paycheck get taken from you immediately. That's the genesis of that number right there. So that's where I got it from, and I hope that that makes it clear. I know that's always it's always a thing that causes a lot of concern with the guys who really are good at math. I'm okay with math, right? I mean, I get math. I'm a computer programmer, but I didn't go to school to study math. Matter of fact, I haven't had a math class since 1986, I think, when I was a freshman in college. So that is I hope that explains what I did there, and why I went ahead and did all that. So anyway, if you have any questions before I move on, you can drop them into the chat here for sure. And I want to put this comment up. I'm going to switch gears here. Solar Roller DI says, I want to give a shout out before John gets on. Appreciate what all YouTubers do for the game. Everyone out there that shares the crafts related videos, especially you. I think you're talking to me there. Thank you. You're welcome. I got to tell you, we're going to get off track here a little bit, but that's the point of a live show. I got into YouTube craps not long ago. What happened was this, and I think I've told the story before, but we went to Vegas. When was that? It must have been in 2021. 2021? I forget the year now. Maybe it's 2020. For my wife's 50th birthday. And we went out there and we had two plans. We had the plan of spending her birthday in Vegas, and I got this. This is what I got, this big tattoo on my arm. And I got her one too. She got one as well. And it was the first year of COVID. And I hadn't played craps in a couple of years. We had been doing stuff with the kids and everything else. I hadn't been to the casino in a while. We went out there and I had my normal budget. I brought like, I think $1,000 to gamble with for a couple of days, and I had my tat money and everything else. We get to the table and everything's $25. I'm like, what the hell am I gonna do here, right? I was like, A, a little bit pissed off, but B, I'm like, I got nothing. I can't play my regular way at these huge limits with the bankroll that I brought that weekend. My son says to me, go to YouTube and check out some crap strategies. And I'm like, YouTube? I thought YouTube was where all the gamers were, right? And so he got me into it, and I found a couple of channels. I found Jeremy, of course. I found El Toro, and I found Bone Thrower at the time. And I started watching these channels, and I got, this is pretty cool. I'm learning some stuff, and there was, Wager was doing a lot of stuff at the time, and so was Crappy the Craftsman, and I learned a lot from that about how to approach the higher limit tables with a lower bankroll. And boy, it's exploded since then, though. I mean, the last year and a half or so, it's been insane how much YouTube crafts there is. It's awesome. Anyway, Jay says, back to the PSO point. Power pressing makes the most given a fully favorable monster shot, right? Which is not the everyday state of affairs. The everyday state of affairs is 4.5 rolls. If you look at my study again, the shooter getting the dice to the shooter to their last 7 out, 4.5 rolls is about the average. 4.5 collectible rolls. Actually, no, 4.5 rolls is the average. 2.75 collectible rolls, which means 2.5 to 3.5 times they hit a box number before the 7 out. That's the truth. That's the raw truth of the average shooter. Again, over 1 million shooters I've tracked. So I know the dice themselves have got a different pattern and different probabilities, and you can do all sorts of math on dice. When I look at somebody walking up to a table and grabbing the dice and starting a shot, those numbers aren't great, unfortunately. So that's the deal. So, all right, let's do this. Something else. We want to talk about Ken's strategy, don't we? We're here to talk about not short stack attacks today, because this is not a short stack attack. This is a paycheck attack. This is going to take you a whole paycheck or 3 to get out here. Dorcel, you're right, by the way. I'm going to put this up here before we talk about Ken's thing. My study is not based on DI. My study is based on purely random shooters, which is 99% of what you see. The 1% of guys that set the dice and throw them well, you're lucky to be at a table with one of them. Maybe it's yourself. I'm talking about everybody else on the table. So when you walk up and you drop your paycheck on a shooter you don't know, you're going to see 2 shots and he's going to 7 out. That's just the way that it is. And that's the reason for the study, is I wanted to make sure that everybody had the information to be safe with. And that's, again, my whole thing. So anyway, here we go. The AMC 117. This is probably it's so orthogonal to what I do every day, right? Which is like, hey, let's be safe. Let's work on a $100 bankroll. Let's work the short stack. We've been doing the short stack play for so long. The AMC 117 is Ken's new thing. And you know this, I don't normally roll other people's stuff. Like that's not my game, right? I don't roll them out. I either make my own strategies or I'm working a theoretical way to play, which is how do you work a table? How do you work your progressions and play the game versus throwing different strategies at you? That's why I don't do a lot of Waylon stuff either. I don't really do a lot of his stuff either. Unless I'm playing it myself and I really kind of latch on and it's working for me, then I can dive into why it works. But Ken phoned me the day before he put his first video out. He said, hey, I'm going to do something new. I want you to take a look at it and evaluate it. Then he did it, and then we had the live thing with Jeff, and then Waylon's done it, and Jeff has done it. And I promised Ken that I would roll this out. So I did a rollout of it last night at about 1 in the morning my time, which was late. We had about 12 people watching that, by the way, which is kind of cool. So we did it. We did the rollout because I wanted to practice the rack part of it. The rack management of this thing is really kind of hard. The strategy itself can be easy or it can be hard, the way that Ken plays it. Now I'm going to give you the hard way first, and then we'll look at an easier way to do it, and we'll see how this works. So it's a 3-stage Mini-Martingale that he plays. You go out there at 64 across, and what happens is as you're getting box number hits, you start out with he's calling it a card count. Just call it the count, right? You have 6, I'll show you 6 lammers in my rack. Every time we get a box number, you count down by 1. So from 6 to 5, 5 to 4, 4 to 3, until you're at 0. And the idea is to say, well, if I collect 6 times, I would have gotten my 64 across back plus profit. And that's all he's doing. It's really, the system is nothing more than 64 across, take 6 hits, and record how many times you've made money. That's all that it is. Ultimately, it's that simple of a strategy. Now, where it gets complex is when you lose, when the 7 comes and you have to go back and chase the loss. So this strategy gets complicated when you're chasing the loss. And what he does is he martingales you up based on what your count was. So if I took 3 hits and my count is 3, that means I've collected 3 times, about 35 or 40 bucks. I had 3 hits to go in my rack. So what he does is he goes out at 3 times your base bet. So if you're betting 10 bucks, now they're all 30s. That's exactly the strategy. You could go in hard and go all the way up to the $70 level and go huge martingale, make more money with it. If you follow the actual Ken math on this thing, it's just 10 times it's your flat bet times your count. That's all that it is. It's not that hard to play. It's hard to manage your rack, and it's hard to remember the numbers. That's where, and you'll see as I go here, I will struggle at certain parts of this thing with the math on it, because you got to remember where you are, and it takes a lot of practice to make that damn thing work. So that's the strategy, right? It's a $64 across. You take your hits, you count yourself down. If you get a 7 before you get 6, you level back up. That's the entire thing. And yeah, you could start right at the second level instead of waiting for 6 rolls. I don't know. And I'm going to put this up here. We'll talk about doing this, right? Why not just start at the second level and then regress to the first level after 1 hit instead of waiting for 6 rolls? You could start out level 2 and regress down to level 1. Level 2 is 480, Brian. And that's, for most people coming, if you're going to buy in, and I'm going to show you today, by the way, buying in this thing with the 4,000 bucks that it requires. I'm also going to show it buying it at $1,000, because I think you can play this thing with $1,000 instead of 4,000, the way that I'm going to play it out. So yeah, Waylon, you're right. Three PSOs and you're done. Ken asked me 2 things. He said, 1, you're the worst shooter in the town, right? When I throw more PSOs here than anybody else does. And he said, if anybody's going to break this thing, you'll break it. I've broken it a few times in practice. I've gotten to 3 PSOs and done a couple times in practice. Most of the time, I don't get there. He said also that he's designed this strategy to be good for a controlled shooter. So if you can throw the dice well, you should be able to avoid the PSO, therefore making it a more safe strategy to play. And again, he's trying to lock profit. It's not a big money maker. This is a profit locker kind of strategy. You just need a whole pile of money to get started. And yeah, Waylon's way, if you're going to do that, if you're going to start at the 500 level, take 1 roll and get out of there, right? I mean, that's just, you know what I mean? Take one shot and you're done. So, all right, let's go to the table. I'm going to zoom in here. We're going to go to the zoom, or we'll go to the wide version actually. Yeah, wide version's fine. I've got money on the table here from last night's practice session, which I will clear out in a second. And we'll talk about the way my rack is set up. And I want you to, I'm going to walk you through this way the strategy works as I understand it. And we'll make sure, I should have done this last night. I'm sorry for the chip mess that I've got here. This is my profit from last night though. It's a pretty good session that I had. Let's see. And I'm gonna use 2 racks today. This actually takes 2 racks to work with the money. There's a lot of moving parts here, and that's why the comments that I got last night from people were like, oh my God, that's so complicated. And it can be complicated. What I'm gonna do is this. We're gonna run, buck off, 2 racks. 1 rack is gonna be the bankroll rack. 1 rack is gonna be the profit rack, okay? And I think this is a good exercise if the strategy works or not in just rack management, knowing where we are. I've split this rack into 3 sections, okay? For each level of the martingale. Level 1, $64. Level 2, $480. Level 3, $3,200. So if you go in here with 64 across and we 0.7 out, we lose that money, we come right back out with 480. If we lose that money on a 0.7 out, we come right back out with 3,200 bucks and you do a Hail Mary. That's the strategy, right? On its most simple and basic level. However, there's nuance to that, and you'll see on the screen there, based on the count, what your numbers have to be. And I may have to refer to that as we go here because this does get a little bit dicey as you get into weird numbers. Excuse me. So let's look at it. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna work this side. I'll use these lammers here as my counters. I'm gonna always try and get my $64 back. That's job 1, is to get this part back, and then I'll feed the profit side. Once I've got money in the profit side of the rack, I'm never gonna touch the profit. I'm gonna always keep working this side and keep building out over here. You'll see what I mean by that as I go. It's gonna be a little confusing at first, but I think you'll see that this here is its own kind of like washing machine. This is gonna be like this kind of money turnstile. Here's where we're gonna store our wins, okay? Let's get out. I'm gonna start out by rolling at random. And if we have some time, I may switch out and go with some controlled shooting here, but here we go. So we're gonna start out with 64 across. We're gonna follow the puck. The puck's off, my money's out to get ahead of it. I'm gonna roll the first one. We'll get a point of 6. Okay, now it was when you're at risk, okay? When you have a point set, the 0.7 out right here, take 64, and we're gonna have to go into here, okay? If we get a number, we'll start counting down. And I'm gonna leave my chips or my lammers out here so you can see them. That'll be our counters. Watch how I do this. We're gonna count right now, by the way, when you start out, your count is basically 7. So if you lose right away, you multiply these units, $10 by 7. This becomes 75, 75, 90, 90, 75, 75. So you're gonna go 7 times your base bet on the 0.7 out. After that, we start washing down. Here we go. Let's get a number here. Any payment. 516. Okay, that makes the point. That's actually the best case scenario. You make the point. That's going to pay 14 bucks. I'm going to put that right into where it came from. We're going to, again, start building out this 64 back. The point's off. I'm going to mark down by turning over a lammer 1. My count now is 5. So I started with 6 of these out here. My count is now 5. I'm going to keep track and try and get to a 0 count. We're going to same bet everything as we go. We're just going to try and get our count down to 0 if we can do it. Let's get a new point. Again, we're following the puck here, so we're okay. New point is 6. Here we go. There's a 6, 4, 10, 10 easy. Now the 10, I'm going to pay that one 20 for $2. Put that into the rack. And 10, because it pays 2 to 1, essentially 2 to 1, counts as 2. So our count now is actually down to 3 on the shooter. And what I've got in the rack over here already is 25, 32 bucks. I'm halfway to being even on the shot. Here we go, coming out. There's the 7, 6 or a 4, 3, 7. So we're gonna lose what's out here. There's our 64 that goes away. Our count was 3. We had 3 left. So we're upside down by 3, which means we're gonna go out here 3 times what my base bet was. Every bet now is gonna be 30 bucks. Now check out how this works. I'm gonna go out from my back stacks. This is my phase 2 stack. I think I have enough reds to do it. Every bet is 30 bucks. Now, Our goal is to get 1 point set, 1 hit in. Here we go. We're going to get a point set, a new point. Point will be 9. Now, avoid the PSO. Okay, we've had 1, 7. We leveled up a little bit. We're going to avoid a 0.7 out here. And I'm keeping my count so you guys can see where we are. That's an 8. It's 5, 3, 8. Now watch what happens. The 8's going to pay 35 bucks. Immediately, we take all of this back. This all goes back to the rack, and you ask your dealer to set you up again at 64 across. I'm going to put this money here. I'm going to put this in the front part of my rack, and let's see where we end up. We took 1 hit in that level up martingale. Do we have enough money now to go 64 across? This is where the genius of the math comes in. I'm going to get 5 reds for that quarter. Okay, and we need to get some whites for that. Boom, boom, and I have $3 in profit after that. So the martingale getting us up there basically collected what we lost. I'm gonna reset my counters now. Collected what we lost from what was left of the first $64 and gave me a teeny bit of profit. Now you could, on that second level, martingale this whole damn thing if you wanted to. You could go count +1 and go 4. Like if my count was 3, I could have went 4 across and increased the profit on that one shot. We elected to do it, again, exactly as the math says from Ken. So that was it, right? We had a count of 3. We went 3 times 10 across the thing, took our 1 hit, got our $64 back plus a little tiny bit of profit, and now we go again, and I reset my count. Once I'm back at 64, I start back over again. And we just hope that we roll well. There's a 1, 3, 3, 1, 4, and that will pay 18 bucks. And again, I'm gonna work this into where it came from. There's $18, 4s and 10s count as a count of 2. There's a 7. All right, so now we're in this bad spot. That's a 7 out. We're gonna lose this again. Get my actual bank right over here. Okay, so our count was 4. Now I gotta come across here with 40 bucks per. And again, there's a lot of, you gotta know this when you're in your game. What does 4 units look like across? It's kind of a confusing bet to make. But here we go. We're gonna have to get some, probably 100 bucks, maybe 125 in reds to make this work. Your dealers are gonna hate you when you do this, by the way, because there's a lot of work for them. There's 125 in red for 5 greens. We're gonna go 40 bucks because our count was 4. We had 4 left over all the way across. So there's 4, 4. These will be 48s, by the way, the 6 and 8. There's 4. We're gonna get, let's go to, oh shit, that's not 40. I'm a dumbass, sorry. It's 40, not 4 units. There's 40, there's 40. 40, 40, and 40. 6 and 8 will go to 45. I'm gonna get whites for that. And I'll probably have to, I'll be changing these whites in as we go, just so you can kind of get a sense of where the racks are. But there's 48 and 48. We should be right. Everything's at 40. We're gonna roll. We have to avoid the PSO right now. Our count is still a 4, by the way. We get a 6. That's gonna pay 56, okay? So we're good. Now we go back to 64 across. So what I'm gonna do here is put all this money back in that back section of the rack, this that we just won. I'm gonna drop this in the front, right here. For now, we'll fix it up in a second. I'm gonna get this money all back. Now this is where, in a casino, this wouldn't happen. I'm gonna do it for you so that we can make sure that our rack is right. I'm gonna color all these up and get them back to greens. just to make it a little easier for us to see, because otherwise we'll have a rack full of random chips back there. I don't want that. Okay, there's 100. What'll happen is the back side of my rack will be back to 480 again. Those are going to be 10 bucks. Okay, the back side of my rack should be, I'll make sure I did the math right on this. I think I did. This should be 480 again. 1, 2, 3, 425, 450, 475, 480. So we're back to 480 in the back of the rack. So what happens is after that one hit at level 2, you take it all back, you put your money in here, and now we're going to go 64 across again. So I'll take these 25s. We're going to get 50 in red. We're going to go 24 or 64 across. You can see you better tip your dealer like crazy here. This is going to be a soul crusher for them. Boom, 64 across, and now we have $10 in profit. So after all that, you made 13 bucks, right? Which makes this seem weak. The next time through here, I'm going to go with the full 480. You'll see the difference if you just Marty up right away. Here we go. Next number out is a 9. Cool. Made the point. That pays 14 bucks. Goes into the 64. We reset our count. That is a count of 1. New point coming. Here we go. Dice are out. 4. Okay, now we're at risk again, right? Our count is at 5 here. Let's avoid the 7. We got a 9. That's awesome. 639. Again, that'll pay. I'll do 15 for 1. We'll change our count to 2. Or 4, rather. The count works backwards, so it's the count of 4 now. And again, I think that using these chips to kind of keep track of your count is the way to do this. There's a 549 again. 9's going to again pay $15 for 1. I'm going to increase my count by 1. Now, Ken does the 5 and 9. On the second one, he counts it as 2. I'm not doing that. I'm going to keep my counts just per hit, except for the 4 and 10. Another 639. So again, the count goes up again. We'll do one more time, 15 for 1. Our count now is down to 2, which is great. Our rack has, let's see, 25, 50, $6 in it. So $56 in the rack. So really one more hit and we'll be in plus territory. There's another 9. Wow, is that 4 9s in a row? 639. That's awesome. That's going to pay. We'll do, I'll actually do 14 this time. You'll see what happens here. We'll be at 14 bucks. I'm going to put this into the rack and check out where my rack's going to go here. I'm going to actually change my count now. So we're going to go again. We're going to count it up. There's 25. There's 50. There's 65. 65 bucks in the rack. That's basically 64 across. I can take this actually here, put those in. So my bankroll's back. Right, my count is technically speaking 1, which means if I 7 out here, I just go back with 1 times my bet. I'm just going to not care about the count. At this point, I can zero it all out and not care. Everything I do from this point goes in profit. Everything now is profit time. So once I get my count down to 1 or 0, you should be in profit. My bankroll is back to where it was. And I worked this section first. Now I hop over here and I start banking money. And at this point, well, there's a 7, of course. At this point, what you would do is whatever pressing mechanism you like, you've got your money back. You're in kind of profit town. And really, if I pulled this down, like I always say, if I would have pulled this back to my rack, which you can always do, there's 64 bucks here plus 19 bucks there. So you're actually at like 80 bucks in profit and change at that particular moment. You have 64 plus profit. You're actually doing better than you think you are if you count your money on the table. So we lost. We're going to come out and do it again. Now this time what I'm going to do, I'm going to go full Marty every time we have a 7 out. We're not going to worry about the count as far as the values go. I'm going to show you how you play this with the full stack in the back. Again, it's a bigger risk, but the reward is actually tangible here. I think you'll like it. Here we go. It's a 549. We're going to go 64 across. Our counters have been reset to zeros. Okay, again, my count right now is technically a 7. There's a 5. That's going to pay 14 bucks. So if we ever don't get to 0 count, we're going to go full level 2, and I'll show you what full level 2 does. There's a 6-5 yo on roll 2. Wasted roll. Oh, I got to mark my 1 point. Count of 1. There's another 9. That's a count of 2. I'll take $15 for 1. And this should show you, by the way, as we go through this, how hard it actually is to get more than 3 or 4 rolls in here. It's really kind of hard. When you do, it's kind of an outlier. There's aces. And I say that because we've had an 11 and aces now in this roll and only 2 collections. We have 4 rolls, 2 collections. And that, as a place better, it sucks, right? You're wasting output. There's a 4-1-5. So again, we'll do 15 for $1. Again, working the front side of that rack over there. 5-4-9. That's our point. And again, we'll do 15. Change the count for 1. My count is 3. My rack is feeling pretty strong right now. I think my rack is, I might have missed a counter. Did I miss a counter? Let's see, 1. I did, I missed 1 count. I think I missed 1. Okay, we are at 50 or 25, 56 with a count of 2. Again, just keep that count. The count, it just lets you know where you are. It's not required other than so that you know what your next martingale size has to be. That's all it's there for. It just helps you with the math. It's also good to know if you're keeping track like this. I like this system of knowing how many hits we've taken. It lets you be in touch with the 7 and what's coming and everything else. There's an 8. So again, we'll do 15 for our last single. Put the count here. Now we should be at this point. This should be 50, 60, $5. We are at goal with the nickel to the good side, and now we're just going to play. Now we're just playing craps. Now you can do whatever you want to. You can take these numbers here, and if we can get something past, there we go. There's a 4-2-6. That'll pay 14 bucks. Now, what do you want to do? Right? We can press up. I can grab a field bet for free. A lot of things I can do here. Now that I'm in the plus count, I can do whatever I want. We could just collect it, or we can start getting aggressive with it. We'll start getting some 6 and 8s. Maybe we'll start moving ourselves out from that. Let's get that clean. I missed $1, sorry. I thought I did. All right, that's a hard 10, 5-5, hard 10. That'll pay 18 bucks. Okay, what I will do with that, I'm gonna grab the hard 10 and the hard 4. I'm gonna press 10 to 15. I'll take $2 out of my rack, and I'll put 15 on the 4. So I'm going to increase the outsides there. When the outsides hit, we'll do that. We'll grab our hard ways, and we'll just start getting a little bit more aggressive in our play if we can. 5-4-9 also pays 14 bucks. We're going to go to 15 bucks on the 5 and 9. Now everything's been pressed up once by itself. We can do a half press or something like that now. So again, 15 here, we'll pay 21. I'll press it by half and keep half. That'll make that a quarter. And we're probably gonna stay at the quarter level. I'm gonna get to, if I can get to quarters, if my roll lasts long enough, we'll get to quarters and we'll stay there. There's 21 bucks again on the 5. We're gonna press half and keep half. That makes this look like a quarter. And we're cruising, right? Again, bankroll's intact. We're just working on the plus side now. And you know it's looming. There's a 5. That'll pay 35 bucks. We'll same bet that. And right now, again, I'm rolling good, so we're making money. At this point, rack is clear. Our count, we can reset the counters to 0. I don't care if it's plus or minus anymore. what I've got over here in my good side, let's lammer it up and see where we are. There's 25, there's 50, there's 75 bucks plus a bunch of whites over here, plus what's out here. So 75, 100, 25, and another 35 bucks. There's about 160 bucks in profit that I am right now. We could stop. If your goal was that, you could stop. Know where you are. I always say this, know where you are in the rack. But at this point, you're in good shape, right? Had you pulled back right then, this money would be here. As it stands, we have $75 in profit, which is good. Okay, I like having profit always. Pulling back would have been a little nicer, but we did a good job. Now, what do you do in this point? I could reset my 64 from my profit. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna keep the profit where it is. I'm not gonna change this. I'm gonna go back out again like I don't have this. We're gonna go out and approach it anew with a new $64. From the bankroll rack. I'll use these whites to pay the insides here, but I'm gonna always start over from here with a 0 count and leave my profits, and it's gonna build these things as we roll out. Once we're past this next 64, it's new profit time. There's an 11, yo 11. There's a 6, new point will be 6. Here we go. We're gonna reset our count. We're at a count of 6. There's a 9. It's gonna pay 15 for a buck. That's a count of, now we're at count 5. Those don't want to stand up. I'd like to get an early 7 so we can go back and hammer it. That'll be again on the 9, 15 for 1. I'll change my counter. Now I have 30 bucks back towards my 64 that's out there. Hard 6. Again, we'll take $15 for 1. Now I've got 45 in the rack. Our count moves to 3. I like the idea of the count. The count is my favorite part of the strategy, where I get to kind of get a good lens on where we are. There's a 415. Once again, we'll do 15 for 1. That's 60 bucks. Those 4 hits of $15, we're at a count of 2. Effectively, we're even. I could pull the 4 bucks out of here and make it 64. And we could ignore the count now. The count is who cares, because we're at our initial. Once our bankroll is where it should be, 1, 2, 3 shots, 3-step martingale ready to go. I'm now playing for profit. Now we're gonna go back and try and make some more money on this thing. Okay, and once again, I gotta point this out. Your bankroll, that was a 3 by the way. Your bankroll is where you started, right? Here's your 3, 1, 2, 3 levels. This is all profit, therefore, this is also all profit. Make sure that we don't forget that that's all profit. 14 bucks. Okay, and now we just play it. Now you just do whatever you want to, right? You can go grab the 6 and the 8. We can inside press this thing if we want to. Like so. And again, we'll roll out to the 7. We'll try and get them all to green and then start collecting if we can. But you get the point, right? That is a, once you're here, you're good. And matter of fact, I'm not gonna roll it out. This part doesn't matter. How I press and whatever else doesn't matter. What does matter is when the 7 comes. Let's roll till we get a 7, and then we'll reset everything. Of course, this is gonna take forever, right? Let's assume we'll assume we pulled all the money down. Matter of fact, we'll just do it, we'll pull it all down. We're gonna run scared, but check it out. Running scared sometimes is where the money is. Put that there, I'll get a nickel here. And our profit is actually 150. So 150 plus some whites. It's actually not terrible. I'm gonna roll to 7, and then we'll reset it again, and I wanna get to level 2. I want you to see what level 2 looks like if you get whacked on the early stages. So today, of course, is a day where I'm rolling decently. Like always, when I wanna demonstrate something, the dice don't ever cooperate. 1, 2, 3, the shocker. But I'm gonna let the dice be the dice, right? I'm rolling to a 7 here because you should, there we go. I want to mentally reset the board. Here we go, that was a 7. That was a 4, 3, 7. Puck will be off. I'm gonna roll back out here with 64 across, and hopefully this time we'll get an earlier 7. It's kind of hard to judge a strategy when you're not seeing any part of the downside, like with the dice rolling poorly. So it is what it is. Points 4. Count is at 6. I'd love to get a 7 early here so we can take a look at how to manage that. 1, 2, 3, the shocker. There's a 4, 2, 6. That'll pay $14. Again, move our counter. Always got to keep track of where your count is on this thing. Here's a 6, 5, yo. There's a midnight. So yo followed by a midnight there. See a horn, bet a horn, right? Ooh, see a horn, bet a horn again. There's the 1, 2, 3. So yo, midnight, ace, deuce. There's a 10. 6, 4, 10. That'll pay 20 for a 2. I don't think I've 7'd out except for the first roll, during the roll, since the first roll. This is crazy. I'm just having a great series of outcomes here. Let's go to 15 again for $1. Our count, by the way, is 3 now. All right, 7 out. Good, good, good. We'll lose 64. Okay, normally, what the strategy says to do, you're at a count of 3. These should be $30 across. $30 for each number. What I'm gonna do though is be lazy and not do that. And we're gonna go with the full baloney here. We're gonna go 75 on every number. We're gonna use the whole back row, or the whole back bankroll rather. These will be 90s, by the way. And we're gonna Marty up the entire way. So here's where the pucker comes, right? This is the, oh shit, we got a PSO, or we got a 7. Let's get a new number. That'll be an 8. And I've Martied up the entire way. I'm all the way into level 2. Now, one shot here, hopefully, 6, 4, 10. That's actually beautiful. That pays 150 bucks. All this goes back. So this Martingale is a one-trick pony. You get one shot, you're back to where you were. In that case, we've grabbed the 10, which is fantastic. We're at 150. This in the front here, if I take one of these quarters and break it down to greens, or to reds rather, we'll be at 50, 65. Front section's back, count goes to 0, and I'm putting, what is that, 120, 131 into my rack. So if you do decide to be aggressive and Martingale up the entire level 2, instead of doing the math, Ken said that's a decent option. If you just want to not do the math and go, okay, go from 64 to 480, fine. If you do that, your return is either 150 or 105 on the insides. That's okay. That's going to guarantee you getting your 64 back plus a little bit of profit every single time. I like that, but man, you get that out here and you hit a 7, your next bet after that is this one. You're going 500 across, right? That becomes $3,200, right? That's a big pickle right there. That's a big pickle. I don't want to be in that spot if I can help it. So for that reason alone, I don't like the strategy. I mean, it's fun and all that, and it works, and you can clearly make some money with it. But I have been here in the last couple of days, a handful of times, probably 6 or 7 times, and I've lost this. I've lost this $3,200 twice, just in monkeying around with it. So to me, that's a danger piece. But I like the fact that when you martingale up after a loss in here, it's not always 480. It's less than that oftentimes. If you lose that, then you bounce up, but you can get less in action as you roll through. So anyway, that's the strategy. I don't know that I love or hate it. I think it's a dangerous thing because the amount of bankroll that it requires. Now, what I'd probably do with it though is this, and I'll give you my number one tweak to it would be this. I'm going to take this money away. I'm going to play this where I never have that problem. Okay, I'm going to go to 2, 3, 475. I'm going to go to 480 twice. Okay. So I have $480 here and here. So my level 3 may not be the same thing. What I may do actually is this. I may even go here. Let me get my next set of chips out. I may go like this and say, here's 64 and 480. Here's 64 and 480. If I happen to get a PSO on this one and then a PSO on this one, that represents $544 in loss, 544. I think I've got a better chance of making 544 back if I start over again than by going out with 3,200. I'd rather try this whole system a second time with a new set of 64 and a new 480 than going back and doing 3,200 and losing my, I said losing a mortgage payment. We don't want to do that. So I think the way I'd play this for, if I was going to play it, would be this. I would have 480 plus 64. If I lose it all, I do it a second time. If I lose that all, it wasn't my day and I'm out $1,000 versus being out $4,000. I'd rather not be out 4K if I can help it. But again, the fact that I've beaten this thing a couple of times gives me a little bit of pause. So there you go. Let's see. I'm looking at chats now. I'm going to come back here and talk to y'all. Let's go back here with that up on screen. All right. Let's see. I've seen HCS is saying, interesting hybrid play. I should roll it out with the pineapple press. I do love the pineapple press. So you're saying the hybrid pineapple should be my go-to. It rocks. The hybrid pineapples, the pineapple press is my favorite. And I'll tell you why I love the pineapple press so much. And I said this the other day when I ran this. Just like this strategy here. And again, I'm gonna go back. I'll go the Zoom version of the table. Let's go in here. And I'm gonna hide my second rack. Actually, hide all the racks don't matter here. The reason why the pineapple press is so freaking cool to me, Brian, and this is the genius of it. It's not that it's a safe strategy by any means, but I like the fact that when I'm at even 44 inside, right? If I'm just at 44, and you know how tables are, right? We all know that tables are wild and crazy, and you forget where you are, and you get caught up in the moment. And what you like to be able to do is not forget what you're doing. And this thing goes from 44, and again, we'll just take the 6 and the 8 as being all 3 hits, right? And when you're pressing from the insides, and then you press going out, and then you press going out, it's 3 hits to get your money up, and then 1 hit to get it all back. 4 hits, you can do 4 hits, especially if you got a good thrower. And when I watched the Hawaii crap shooting team throw on all their lives, this to me, if you follow along with them and just did this, with this, you'd be fine, right? Get a $50 don't out or get a $25 don't out, and whatever the point is, throw me a little bit of a lay action on it, some kind of a lay. For a little bit, right? Let's say we did that. Let's say we $60 lay on whatever number it is, and we get hits in here, right? Let's say you get your 14, 10, 14 on the 8, let's say, and we press both the 8 and the 6 up to $18. There's our $3 there. They hit again. Now they pay 21. Can you rack a buck? These become 20s. Let's say they hit, let's say you get another cheapie. Let's say you get the 6 and the 8 again for $21. Again, rack a buck, $10, 4 and 10. Now whatever hits, you're making money. It doesn't matter what comes out, you're gonna make some money here. Let's say that we get, this time the 5 and the 9 or something, you get 28 bucks. That's profit already. I can reduce everything down to get 64 across. Whoops. And I've made money. I've guaranteed myself, there's 55. There's a nickel, right? I've locked up 64. I can take my lay bet down and I've got 64 across with $25 on the don't, this is all paid for. This is all profit, right? I've made my entire money back plus profit. That's fantastic, right? In my rack, if you look at it this way, there's 25, 40, there's the 44 I started with, and there's my profit. I love, this strategy is boss just because of that. I love that because I can't screw it up. 6s and 8s, 5s and 9s, 4s and 10s, bring it all back. Like that's like the most simple way. And when you're 100 years old like I am and you get stuck at a table and you're not paying attention, that's fantastic. So love it. Thanks, Brian, for giving us that. It's great. All right, let's see, what else are we talking about? Yeah, man, that's tough. I mean, you know how many the PSOs come though, right? That's the points 7 out. And again, to go back to my first point today, by the way, we should talk about this too. The first point I made this morning about where I come up with the 28% number is this. And this is why you can't use that number to drive this decision, all right? Because here's the deal. Let's go back to the screen share. Remember, this number here, I'll zoom in even more for you. This number is based on shooters, okay? Right here, shooters going 0 length, not points going 0 length. So here, in this case, if a shooter, like I was doing, made a couple of points, like hit a 9, or set a 9, made the 9, set a 8, made the 8. This number is not the right number to be looking at. At that point, you're looking at a 16% chance of the 7 rolling on the next shot. You're always at that same percentage of the 7 coming on the next roll. This is just looking at the shooter, not the roll. So the $3,200 across, to me, this isn't the number you're worried about. It's more 16% of that roll being a bad roll. This is about shooters and pressers. So don't confuse this number with the chances of seeing a 7 on any given come out or any given point being set following a number. So that is that. Let's see, other questions we have? Let's see. The 100K diamond strategy based on Brian's hybrid point. That's a $20,000 an hour strategy. How are you making 20K an hour? How much are you betting out there? What kind of table minimums you got there? Skill luck, I have not seen the Golden Cross. I'll look at that. I think I've heard of that before though. I'll go check it out and see. Yeah, I'll check that out. I've been, as you know, guys, I've been working 20 hours a day. I've been doing this show obviously in the mornings, but I'm also recording videos for LinkedIn at the same time, plus my day job. So I've been a little bit not able to watch all the craps right now. So I'm gonna get back to it. But yeah, Skill, I'll check out your Golden Cross here. I know I've heard the video. I've heard of the Golden Cross. I haven't seen the video. So I will definitely check it out. And again, I think, to go back to my announcements from before about what we're going to do on the show here, like I say, I don't want to be rolling everybody's strategies out. And the reason for that is multiple, right? Other guys already do that, right? Ken does a little bit of that. Jeff does a lot of that. Mike at On Point does a lot of that. Jeremy at Color Up does a lot of that. There's already guys rolling people's strategies out so you can see them. My niche or whatever isn't that. What I can do though is like I did today, which is to roll it out, but roll it out for the purposes of not so much just rolling it for fun, but to break it down and kind of give it a critique or a decent look. So maybe the Skill, that's what I'll do with this one here is and Waylon sent me one too that he wants me to look at. And maybe what I'll do is I'll spend my time not so much rolling it like this morning, but spend my time more diagnosing it and picking it apart and seeing where the soft spots are. So maybe that's a good use of that, because there's so much of that out there where folks want me to run stuff. But again, I don't want to jump into Mike's territory or jump into Jeff's territory or Jeremy's territory. They're already doing a great job with that. You don't need me doing it too. So I will definitely maybe do more breakdowns than rollouts. Maybe that's the right tone for us to hit here. So anyway, that's it. Yeah, do live challenge. I love doing some live challenges. I think that's going to be a good thing. I love the like Jeff's 50 for 150, 15 for 150 thing. That's cool for sure. There's a lot of things that we can do, I think, with two of us online at the same time. I got to get some people who are willing to come on live with me and do that kind of stuff. So we can do it. I have The technology that I've got here will let us have 2 people with 2 cameras all at the same time. I can do actually 4 people and 8 cameras. So we can do what we want to here. It's a matter of just timing and stuff. So Waylon's got the stainless cross. So it's funny. Skill's got the golden cross. Waylon's got the stainless cross coming out. I did the crossbow last week, which is the way I play the iron cross. And for those of you who don't know, my iron cross play is I basically am aggressive on the box numbers. Like I'm full pressing the box 3 times before I collect. I don't pineapple it, but I'm full pressing the 3 numbers that are up there. And I'm power pressing the field wins. So the field wins, I'm doing the 1, 3, 2 progression on the field while I'm power pressing the numbers, or not power, while I'm full pressing the numbers for 3 rolls, and then I'm out. And that's how I run my iron cross. So it's a highly aggressive iron cross versus just kind of donating money back every time. Waylon, I'm dying to see what you do with it. I think you have an interesting brain when it comes to craps, and I want to see your iron cross play. So that's it, man. I'm out of here, guys. I got to get to work. So Waylon, congrats on the 800. Mike, congrats. I think you're at 350 or something. You're doing great at On Point. Jeff, obviously at 1,200. Brian's at like 1 million subscribers now. So keep going to Brian's channel, of course. And let's get everybody you know over here to Casino Gaming TV. Casino Gaming TV is where it's at. We're at half the amount of viewers that we used to get on this show because people aren't over here yet. So we got to get them over here. I may have to go back to a dual stream again to get folks plugged back in again, but for now, it's just us kids. So with that said, I got to get to work. Thanks again for tuning in. Hit the like button, subscribe, do the notification thing, tell your friends, share the wealth, and I will see you all in the morning. God bless all of you.